Good afternoon, everyone. I am back for another live episode. I can feel my stomach grumbling and I'm hungry. So as soon as I do this, I'm going to have an early dinner. But I didn't want to wait till after dinner. I was just like, you know what? I've had somebody message me and they asked me to talk about long distance relationships. Questions are, should you do it? When you're put in that situation, do you turn around and make a decision, which a lot of people do when someone has to travel or they're going overseas for a secondment with work? Do you just break up or do you stay together? So should you be doing it? How can you keep it going? What do you do when you're in a long distance relationship? Now, long distance doesn't necessarily mean that you are literally like on opposite sides of the globe. Long distance can be between, cities within the same state or interstate. But the question is that when you're in a situation where you have a long distance relationship, can it work? Can you make it work, and what are the keys? Now, from my personal experience, look, with one of my relationships, I can tell you right now, if we didn't have some distance or live in separate homes and had to travel to separate states and sometimes separate countries, I honestly don't think we would have lasted that long. And the reason why, and this is probably going to shock a lot of you viewers, but the reason why it was really good is because it was this constant yearning and excitement to catch up again. And whether that was going to be a couple of weeks or a couple of months, oh my God, we're like all over each other, like flies on shit, like seriously. We just get so excited about seeing each other. So what it was doing was it was actually reigniting the spark over and over and over again. But that was us. So you have got what's called FIFO. So if you've never heard what FIFO is, it's called fly in, fly out. And a lot of people these days or specifically more men are doing FIFO. So they're actually working within the mines in really rural areas, or they're going offshore into the oil fields and stuff like that. So what happens is they tend to have 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. It was really interesting because we had a focus group and we had a bunch of guys there and we had a FIFO in the room. And what he was saying was when he was a FIFO, everything was great. And he'd actually done it within the relationship for quite a long time, in that they had that, it was just like, he'd be in and they'd just be like, oh, this is great. And it was okay. And then he'd go off again. But when he quit being a FIFO and he came back and they permanently were around each other, they had no idea what to do. So was it possible to change that scenario and make it work? Definitely. So the question is, what is the key to keep it going? Biggest key I've got here is communication. Okay, really, really important to communicate, and lots of it. And probably to keep that kind of relationship going, the communication needs to be on the next level. So it needs to be completely transparent and completely open. Because one of the biggest issues when you have a long distance relationship is that big fat word, trust. Okay. And unfortunately, our egos and our stupid minds have a tendency to go a little bit freaking nut jobby, and we make up shit in our head about the possibility of what other people are doing. So communication and trust are 2 of the biggest keys with a long distance relationship. So if you have a partner that is traveling a lot and you have maybe some insecurity issues, because that definitely can happen out there. If you do not have trust and you do not communicate in a very transparent way, I can tell you right now, it's not going to work. Okay. These are 2 of the biggest keys. The third thing is, understanding each other's love language. And I talk about the 5 love languages all the time. The reason why I'm doing this, guys, is because I want to get it into your heads. It is the key. This is one of the biggest turnaround keys in any relationship. I don't give a shit if you've been together for 40 years. I don't give a shit if you've been together for 3 weeks. Once you go and you look at the 5 love languages, and they are, it's touch, acts of service, words of affirmation, I've just had a brain fart, gifts, and someone help me with what the 5th one is. Now I'm going to hit Google. Literally type in the word 5 love languages. Now when you do this on that website, so it's number 5 and then lovelanguages.com, when you go in here, fill out the free report, and with that it's going to tell you what is your highest love languages. Now, the problem that we do, and our biggest error, is that what we tend to do is we treat people how we want to be treated. Bum bum. You want to fuck up your relationship? That's a sure sign of how to do it. So what you want to do is you want to find out, if you're in a current relationship, what is your highest love language, and you need to communicate and tell the other person, and you need to treat them as per their love language. So if we're doing a long distance relationship, we need communication and we need trust. We need to know what our love language is, and we need to then communicate that, because that breeds trust. Okay, so the 5 is words of affirmation, acts of service, which is do what you say, receiving gifts, quality time, and touch. So you want to find out which one you are, and which one your partner is. And if you don't have a partner, find out which one you are, because then you can communicate it. And trust me, like that, you're completely going to change the dynamics of your relationship. So how do you keep your relationship going when you've got long distance? Look, guys, if you are not having a really open relationship in regards to that communication and respecting each other, and then respecting each other's space. Okay, so for those, I was talking about the FIFOs, the fly in, fly out. So when you've got one person that's disappearing, if we're talking about a one person that's away all the time and coming back, you have to remember that the person that's left at home gets in their own little routine. So when you're coming back in, you're coming into their space and their routine. So you really need to be conscious about that. You've got some of them that are going to come back and be what I call Velcro babies. So they're all over each other like a bad rash is great. But when your life is completely revolving around that other person, it makes it really, really difficult. So it's nearly like quite smothering. So, you know, then you've got the other people that they're very blasé. Now, for me, having a long distance relationship throughout 11 years worked perfectly, because we just kept, it was like a boom every time, but a good boom. It was like fireworks, and we'd just be so excited to see each other, and we're all over each other like a bad rash, and, you know, we get quite excited. So it can work, but when it's not going to work is when you don't have those keys, which is communication, very open communication, trust, and understanding your love language, to make sure that when you are in each other's space, that you're communicating everything well. So there's some of the key qualities on how to sustain a long distance. But we're adults here, well, most of us that are watching. So how do we keep it spicy? So now, apart from the fact that when you get together, you're going to be all over each other and it's like, whoa, it's like a love fest. But if we've got a bit of time apart, how do we keep it spicy so we don't go floating somewhere else? So, number 1, sexting. Okay. You're going to feel stupid if you've never done it before, but give it a bash. This is why I actually quite liked apps like Tinder and stuff like that, because when you get your matches, you just go and test stuff. Hey, Patty. You know, you want to go and test it out. So when I had to learn how to sext, because I'm old, and this is all new to me, I'm like, what do I say? How do I do it? It's like weird. So I actually just went out and tested it with people and just kept trying stuff. Sexting, you've got the word. So what you want to do is occasionally do something cheeky. Another way to do it is when your partner is literally going, you have nice ears. Yes, I do miss you, Patty. It's interesting, Scott. You have nice ears. Are you sure about that? That'd be something different to say to somebody. When you, let's just say your partner is going on a business trip. Okay, so here's stuff that you can actually do. And Patty and I actually talked about this before. You can go, if you're a girl and your guy's going away, why don't you go and put something, one of your sexy pieces of lingerie, your G-string or something, or lace knickers, put it in his lunchbox or put it in his bag. So when he gets to the other end, he unpacks it, it's just like, oh, hello. Then you can actually send each other little messages. And you know what? You don't have to go out there and be really blunt when it comes to sexting. Sexting is about creating something that's a visionary thing. Now, granted, with women, you know, hey, that's why we like to read and we get horny on reading. And I understand men are a little bit more visual. So if you are visual, and yes, put clean knickers in preferably. If we're not Japanese here, darling. If you are going to go to the next level and it's not words, send a cheeky photo. So I actually have got someone, and I've been wearing him down and he knows who he is. In regards to that whole concept of taking it to the next level, where you're not just flirting, and flirting, by the way, should be happening in your relationship no matter how long you've been together. Okay, always flirt with your partner, even when you're married to them. You need to continue dating and flirting, all right? And flirting is sometimes about, you know, remind them of a time that something happened in the past that made you feel amazing and it turned you on or something. That is called flirting. And trust me, bringing up those memories like, oh God, I remember when you were wearing such and such. Oh, that you were so sexy when you wore that. It so turned me on. Hello. That's called flirting and sexting. And it works like gold, okay? Because you want that person to miss you a little bit. And you can do this even when you don't have long distance and you're just at work. So the next thing is, with your sexting, you can also send images. So this person is really uncomfortable sending any photographs. Well, number one, I'd suggest if you do send any sort of naughty photo of any sort, that don't put your face in it, okay? Because I do talk about this, what's floating around at the moment, talking about how do I word it? Consent. Once you've taken a photograph and you've sent it out, regardless of whether you're under 18 or over 18, and it goes out into the electronic world, that is called consent. And wherever it goes, you have no control. So you need to get that into your head. So my suggestion is, if you're going to send a little naughty photo, you do it without your face in it, okay? So, it might be for women, sending a cleavage shot or something. You're still wearing clothes. Or for guys, if you own an 8-pack or something, sending that. Or if your woman's a butt woman, send her a picture, from behind, through the mirror of your butt cheeks and go, woohoo, and I have seriously had, some interesting photos sent to me, but it doesn't have to be literally the spank bank stuff. Go slow and just start little by little, guys. I don't want you to go like straight into it and say dirty shit. It's not about that. It's about creating that mystery in your relationship. So sexting is number one. V8 supercars. Now, for a woman like me, okay, that's a turn on. Okay, because I'm a petrol head. I love my cars, Scott. I'm like an F1 V8 supercar, hotted up woman. I drive the car that I have because the engine is freaking awesome. It's one of the best engines ever on the market. Don't give a shit about the color. Don't give a shit that it's an older car. I care about the engine. So for a woman like me, doing stuff like that, that actually could work quite well. Now, I want to tell you, if you want to take it to the next level, and we have a long-term relationship that's out there, and we're doing long-term distance. So one of you has to go overseas for work or for travel, and you literally, look, you've done your sexting in regards to sending messages, and you're not going to see each other, let's just say for months on end, okay? And a friend of mine, she's the one that asked me to answer all of this. So You've done your sexting, you've tested it out, feel goofy at first, it's okay, give it a bash is all I actually have to say. Yes, I'm getting to that. I've got better product than WeVibe, Patty. You just wait. Hold on, because I'm going to tell you something that's freaking amazing. So you've done your sexting, you've sent your naughty pictures, you've gone on Skype, and you can be a little sexy on Skype to each other. Then you've got your toys. Now, WeVibe is one option, and with the WeVibe, it has an app. So what happens is one person owns the actual toy, the other person has the mobile app, right? And what you do is you sync the two pieces together, and as long as you've got Bluetooth or you've got internet, you can be anywhere on the globe, and you guys can take Skyping to the next level, where as the partner, you can control the vibrations and the speed and the power and the pulsing, and you could be in Russia and your other person is here. So send some toys, I'll bring some. You should have taken some before you left, woman. You should know better. So basically the WeVibe is great because then your partner can be on the other side of the globe or in another city or in another house, and you can literally give the other person pleasure. However, have I got a new product for you now? Seriously, if you want to learn more, make sure that you subscribe, okay, to this station, and make sure that I haven't put the link up because I forgot, but I'll put it up at the end of this video, so that way you're on a mailing list, because I got a new toy for you. We are going next level generation, babies. All right, so this is the toy that I've got. You've got two pieces. Now, for those of you that are a little sensitive when it comes to taboo topics, chillax. All right, this is okay. This is adult rating. You're over at 18, and even for those that are under 18, it's good to know your body. But this new toy is taking technology to the next level, so when you do have a long distance relationship, you can feel like you're in the same room. Now, I can hear you asking, how? All right, so we've talked about communication, trust, sexting, the works. However, and a bit of Skype sexy stuff, what this toy does, and I want you to subscribe because I am going to put out a special release on this